Hello and welcome. Today we are looking at the Paierge PEG mini folding rainbow drone, courtesy of GearBest.com. This compact agile drone folds and is very fast and fun to fly. So let's check it out. Now the drone comes in this white rectangular box where it says rainbow drone, folding mini drone. And it's from Paierge, P-E-G, and it looks like on the side of the box there are three different versions of this. There's a Wi-Fi, a 720p, and I guess a non-camera version. Here in the back you can see another view of the quad, and so let's check it out. Here are some of the features, and let's open this up. Very simple and straightforward. You just open the bottom here and then open it up. So right away you have a baggie that has the instruction manuals and all the accessories like the charger, spare propellers, and thumbsticks for the transmitter. You have right here a Wi-Fi clip, or a clip for your mobile device, so you could put that on the transmitter. You have the transmitter itself right here. So we'll pull this out, and it says Paierge right there, and has a big light at the top. So we'll look into that in more detail. And then, of course, here is the foldable compact drone. It says mini drone, Paierge, folding, and it has its on-off button there. So overall, very cool. And so let's take a closer look at everything inside. Here's a last look of the contents within the box. You have the instruction manual with a brochure there of info on the app. You have a 3.7 volt 600 milliamp LiPo battery. You have a USB charger for that battery, 4 spare half propellers, a mini screwdriver, the transmitter, the drone, and an extra backing for the transmitter to put the batteries. Now the transmitter is already assembled and has the included joysticks and mobile adapter already installed. So now let's take a closer look at the quad. Now taking a closer look at the quadcopter here, as you can see it says mini drone Paierge folding there at the top, and has an on-off button right there. It has this camera right here at the front, small pinhole type camera, and I believe there's a 720p and a 0.3 megapixel version of this with the camera. But in any case, there's a view of the camera. Here is a view of the bottom of the quadcopter. Now this doesn't really have any landing legs that stick out. It mainly has these foamy pads right here at the bottom that protect it when it's on a surface. And the lights here are on each corner. There are lights. Now they're kind of flat, so when it comes to orientation or perhaps a little night flight, this is a little difficult to see the lights, because you can only see it if the quad is directly above you, because they don't stick out. So here is a rear view, side view. Now this does bear a very strong resemblance to the DJI Mavic, as you can see, and it is a folding drone. It's relatively easy to fold. You fold the front ones first, like this, and then the rear legs you actually have to fold them forward. There's a little latch right here, and then you just fold them like this, and then you close the latch, and so that's essentially it. You just have to fold in the propellers. But this is essentially the compact view of the drone right here. As you can see, very compact. And you can use the small included screwdriver to change the propellers if one gets damaged. So as you can see, they're held together by those screws. And that's essentially it. A few notes on this quadcopter. This is an altitude hold quadcopter, so it does hold its altitude. And this is a brushed motor quadcopter, so no brushless motors on this. So an altitude hold brushed motor quadcopter with supposedly Wi-Fi FPV streaming at a good budget price. So overall, a neat little fast, agile quadcopter. So a little note on the battery. Its battery, it has a battery case right here at the top. You just slide it off like that, and it takes right here a 3.7 volt 600 milliamp LiPo battery, and you just simply put that in here, and you would plug that in here. Now the good thing about its battery bay is that it is relatively large. It's a pretty big area, so you could probably stick in a larger capacity battery in here. As you could see, there's plenty of space in here, both in the height of the battery and the width of the battery. So if you can manage to find a bigger battery, it would work pretty well in there. And since this is a very light quadcopter, it definitely could handle probably a higher capacity battery, at least a 680 milliamp or anything larger. So so very cool, very neat quadcopter, very fast and agile, and just a good fun flyer overall. And so that's it. Now let's take a closer look at the transmitter. Now here is the transmitter. It has the standard controls like the left throttle and the right joystick there. You have your speed switch right here. So if you press this towards the left, you get to the higher rates, and to the right, the lower rates. And I believe there are 3 rates here, and they're denoted by beeps. So 3 beeps is the fastest rate, and 1 beep would be the slowest, and followed by 2. Here is your on-off switch. Here is your emergency shut-off. So hitting any one of these 2 right here would just shut down the quadcopter in midair if necessary. These on the right-hand side are just directional trims for the flight characteristics of the quad. And right here at the top, you have basically 4 more buttons. And then this button right here, this is the headless mode. So you push this to enter headless mode. This right here is the auto takeoff, auto land button. So you push it once to take off, push it again to land. This one here in the back is the flip button. So you would push that, you'd hear a series of beeps, and then at that point you could hit the right hand rudder in any direction, and the quad will flip in that direction. And then this button right here is simply a 1-key return. So you would push that, and in whichever direction the quad took off from, it will fly backwards into that direction. And so that's essentially it. It is a very interesting transmitter. It has a big light here at the front. I'm not sure if that's for aesthetic purposes or in some way used, but it has a big light that turns on when you turn on the transmitter, like so. So, and then on the back of this transmitter, there is a screw, although you have the option to use the mobile device clip here, and that's essentially you can use this back right here, and and have this in the back like that. But this takes 3 AA batteries, like so. And so that's essentially it. So now let's set this up for a first flight. Now briefly going over a first flight setup. Once all the batteries are fully charged and connected, you would turn on the drone first by pushing this button. And then you would turn on the transmitter by flicking the switch. Now there's no need to bind it because it's bound out of the factory, and you'll notice that it connects right away and the blinking will stop. But one recommended first step is to calibrate the gyros, and that's done by putting both sticks down and out, almost as if you were going to turn on the motors, but it doesn't turn on the motors. It actually calibrates the gyro. So you do that, both sticks down and out like this. And you'll notice that it blinked for a couple seconds, and that means that everything is fully calibrated. Now, it's preferable to do that step while the quad is at the ground level, flat, without moving. So now essentially everything is ready for takeoff, and you can push the back button to start the motors and then push the throttle up to fly. But prior to that, we're going to go over the Wi-Fi connectivity and the app. So first you would take the mobile device and connect to its Wi-Fi settings, like so. So once in the Wi-Fi settings, you will see YD UFO and a serial number. You just connect to that. Now there's no default password, so it should automatically connect. Then once that's done, you would download and install this app, FYD FPV, from either the Android or iOS App Store. It's FYD-FPV, so you would run that. And once in that app, you may want to switch the language to English, and that's done by this switch right here. If you switch it, it's in Chinese. So then there's an option here for fixed height. I'm not sure what that's for. Here is some help menus or help reading. Then there's some options. There's a little flight simulator game in there. We'll go over that in a second. And then there's the play button. So as you can see, we have an FPV stream right there with the app. And here are your standard controls. This will take you back to the main menu. This will take a picture. This will take a video. This will go to your photo gallery. And if you have the virtual controls, this will switch the rates from 30, 60, and 100. This will enforce altitude hold or not. This will allow for gyro flight by tilting the phone, and the accelerometer of the phone will fly the quadcopter. But you could also disable that and just fly with the joysticks. You could take off the virtual controls and just view the FPV stream. And then here's some other buttons here that reverses or flips the video feed. This is for view on your FPV goggles right here. If you click on this, it'll split the screen. Right here, this will calibrate the gyros, and I believe this enters headless mode. So those are essentially the controls there. And you have other controls here. You have a waypoint mode where you could draw a path and the quadcopter will fly that path. You have a voice command there, and here this will allow you to do your 360 flips. You've got your throttle, rudder, and you've got your auto takeoff, emergency stop, auto land, and your trims. So that's essentially it for the app. Well, there is a fun little simulator that's actually pretty cool. When you enter here, and you basically just take off with this quadcopter. and you could just fly around, and it's pretty neat. And you could do a lot with it, and it's pretty neat. So this might help you train a little bit with flying the quadcopter, and you could hit reset here. But a pretty neat little simulator. So overall, a neat package. So now that we've set everything up, let's take it out for a first flight and check it out.